The rain hasn't stopped for 3 hours. It falls in sheets, cold and unforgiving, washing the grime off the city streets but doing nothing for the stain on my soul. My arms are burning. The muscles in my shoulders scream with every step, a dull, throbbing ache that I welcome because it distracts me from the coldness seeping through my coat. She is lighter than she used to be. Or maybe I've just grown used to the weight of her. I look down at her face. The streetlights are dying, flickering out one by one as we pass, as if the city itself is closing its eyes to what happened tonight. In the strobing orange light of a dying sodium bulb, I see her eyelashes wet with rain. Her lips are pale, parted slightly, letting out small, shallow breaths that mist in the freezing air. Hold on, I whisper, though I don't know if she can hear me. Just hold on. The blood has soaked through the sleeve of my tweed jacket. It's warm and sticky against my skin, a stark contrast to the freezing rain. It's running down my wrist, dripping off my fingertips, marking our path on the asphalt. A trail of red in a world of gray. I keep walking. There is nowhere to go. The hospital is miles away, and I am a man walking on foot with a dying woman in his arms. But stopping means admitting that this is the end. Stopping means looking at the clock and realizing that time ran out 20 years ago. So I walk. And as I walk, the ghosts come out of the shadows. They dance in the rain. They whisper in my ear. They tell me how we got here. And it all started like this. University. The word itself tastes like nostalgia. It was a time of tweed jackets, smell of old paper, and the arrogant belief that we would live forever. We were the inseparable three. The golden trio, people called us, though looking back, the moth, the flame, and the shadow, might have been more accurate. There was Marcus. He was the flame. Loud, bright, dangerous. He walked into a lecture hall and owned it before he even sat down. He had that rare, magnetic charisma that made you want to be near him, even if you knew you'd get burned. He wasn't the smartest student, he copied my notes more often than he took his own, but he had a way of making you feel like helping him was a privilege. Then there was me, Arthur. The shadow. The observer. The one who knew the dates of every battle in the Napoleonic Wars but couldn't figure out how to fight for his own happiness. And in the middle, was Elena. Elena. She wasn't loud like Marcus. She didn't demand attention. She commanded it simply by being. She studied literature. She loved poetry, Keats, mostly. She used to sit on the library steps, reading aloud, and I would listen, pretending to study my history textbooks while memorizing the cadence of her voice instead. We did everything together. Late-night study sessions at the 24-hour diner, sharing greasy fries and grand philosophies. Weekend trips to the coast where we froze on the beach and laughed until our sides hurt. I fell in love with her in the spaces between those moments. It wasn't a lightning strike. It was a tide. Slow, inevitable, rising until I was drowning in it. I loved the way she chewed her pen when she was thinking. I loved the way she defended the villains in books, saying nobody is born evil, they're just written that way. By our third year, the dynamic was shifting. The air between us was growing thin, charged with things left unsaid. I caught her looking at me sometimes, when Marcus was busy holding court. A lingering glance. A soft smile. I convinced myself it was real. I convinced myself she was waiting for me. It was a Tuesday in April. I remember the date. April 14th. I had spent 3 nights rehearsing what I would say. I had written it down, revised it, memorized it. I was going to tell her everything. I bought flowers. Tulips. Red and yellow. She once told me roses were too pretentious, but tulips were honest. I felt ridiculous carrying them across campus, clutching the crinkly plastic wrap like it was a shield. My heart was hammering a frantic rhythm against my ribs, thump thump, thump thump, a war drum announcing my own doom. I knew she would be by the fountain in the main quad. It was her spot. I rounded the corner of the science building. The sun was shining. It was a perfect day. A day written for a happy ending. And then, the world stopped. There she was. And there was Marcus. He was down on one knee. I stopped mid-step. I felt the blood drain from my face, pooling in my feet, making them heavy as lead. Marcus was holding a ring box. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw the shape of them. He was professing his undying love. He was selling her a future. Elena looked, shocked. Her hands were over her mouth. Her eyes were wide. She wasn't smiling, not exactly. She looked like a deer caught in headlights, overwhelmed by the spectacle. I should have stepped forward. I should have shouted. I should have thrown the tulips at his head and demanded a fair fight. But I didn't. I shrank. I started to back away, to hide my shame. And that's when he saw me. Marcus looked up, over Elena's trembling shoulder. His eyes locked onto mine. He saw the tulips. He saw the devastation written in the slump of my shoulders. He saw the confession dying on my lips. A normal friend would have looked guilty. A normal friend would have panicked. Marcus smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was a razor blade. It was a sideways, jagged smirk of pure, predatory triumph. He looked at me, then he looked at the ring, and then back at me. He winked. A subtle, almost imperceptible wink. Then he turned back to Elena, his voice booming for the gathering crowd, playing the part of the romantic hero perfectly. I turned around. I walked to the nearest trash can, a gray, metal thing covered in graffiti, and I dropped the tulips inside. They landed on top of a discarded soda cup. I walked away. I walked out of the quad, out of the moment, and out of her life. Time is a cruel mechanic. It doesn't fix things, it just rusts them over. 5 years passed. Then 10. Then 15. I buried myself in history. It was safer there. The dead don't break your heart. I got my doctorate. I published papers. I became Professor Arthur, the man who lived in his office, the man who never married, the man who always looked like he was waiting for a train that had already left the station. I saw them, of course. We moved in the same circles. Alumni events were the worst. I watched Elena fade. That's the only word for it. The vibrancy she had at 20 was stripped away, layer by layer. At the 5-year reunion, she looked tired. At the 10-year, she looked exhausted. By the 15-year, she looked haunted. She worked constantly. A job at the library, tutoring on weekends, freelance editing at night. Her hands, once soft and ink-stained, were now rough and trembling. And Marcus? The flame had turned into a wildfire that burned everything it touched. The rumors were always swirling. Marcus lost his job. Marcus was in debt. Marcus was drinking again. He didn't just spend their money, he devoured it. He stole from her. He took the money she saved for a vacation, for a car, for a life, and he fed it to the casinos. He gambled away her happiness, chip by chip. I tried to intervene, once or twice. Softly. Elena, do you need help? I'd ask. She would just shake her head, clutching her purse tight, her eyes darting around to see if he was watching. He's just going through a rough patch, Arthur. He loves me. He needs me. She was the anchor, and he was the storm. And she was drowning. It broke 6 months ago. I walked into a diner near the university for a late coffee. They were there. Sitting in a booth by the window. Marcus was drunk. Not the fun, charismatic drunk of our college days. He was mean drunk. His face was flushed, his eyes glassy and venomous. Elena was shrinking into the vinyl seat, staring at a glass of water like it was a crystal ball she hoped would show her a way out. I couldn't just walk out. I walked over. Hello, Elena. Marcus. Elena looked up. For a brief second, the clouds parted. She smiled. A real smile. It was small and fragile, but it was there. Arthur. It's good to see you. That was all it took. What the hell are you looking at him like that for? Marcus, please. Stop. Everyone is looking. Let them look. I want them to see. I want them to see how my wife looks at the great professor. You think I'm stupid, Elena? You think I don't see it? Marcus, that's enough, I said, my voice low. You're making a scene. Oh, the professor speaks. The knight in shining tweed. You want her, don't you? You've always wanted her. He hit her. Backhand across the face. I saw red. The history books flew out of my head. The tenure, the dignity, gone. I lunged across the table. I grabbed him by his collar and hauled him out of the booth. He smelled of stale bourbon and rot. Touch her again, I snarled, and I will kill you. He stumbled back, laughing. He wiped his mouth. He looked at me with that same look from the fountain. That look of ownership. She's my wife, Arthur. She said, I do, to me. Not you. Never you. I sat with her while she iced her cheek. I begged her. Leave him, Elena. Come with me. I have a guest room. I have money. We can get a lawyer. Please. I can't, Arthur. You don't understand. He wasn't always like this. He was always like this, I told her. We just didn't want to see it. But she wouldn't go. She went home to him. She always went home to him. Tonight. I accepted a teaching position in London. I couldn't stay in this city anymore. Watching her slowly die was killing me. My flight was, tomorrow morning. I packed my life into 2 suitcases. But I couldn't leave without one last look. Just a drive-by. A final act of masochism. I parked my car down the street from their small, peeling house. The lights were on. I rolled down the window, letting the cold air in, just watching. Then the shouting started. It was loud enough to carry through the thin walls and the rain. Marcus was home. And he was in a rage. You think you're better than me? You think you're a martyr? I gave you everything, Marcus. I have nothing left to give. You gave me nothing. You gave me a body, but you gave him your heart. I gripped the steering wheel. My knuckles turned white. You think I don't know? You think I didn't know back then? Know what? What are you talking about? First year. The library. The way you looked at him when he read those stupid poems. I saw it, Elena. I saw Arthur falling in love with you, and I saw you falling for him. I saw him coming that Tuesday. With the tulips. I saw him walking across the quad. He looked so pathetic. So hopeful. You saw him. Of course I saw him. Why do you think I proposed right then? I didn't have a ring, Elena. That ring was a twist tie I found in my pocket. I just couldn't let him win. I had to take you first. I had to tie you to me just to see the light go out of his eyes. The air left my lungs. It wasn't love. It wasn't even lust. It was spite. Pure, distilled spite. He had spent 20 years destroying a woman just to keep me from loving her. And look at us now. I won. I made you miserable, and I made him lonely. That's a win in my book. No. She ran. She burst out of the house, wearing only a thin dress. She was running blindly into the street, into the dark. I threw my car door open. Elena. I screamed. She stopped. She turned. She saw me standing there in the rain, under the streetlight. Her face, it crumbled. Arthur. She started running toward me. For a moment, we were 20 again. Running across the campus. But Marcus was behind her. He was fast. And he had something in his hand. A kitchen knife. If I can't keep you, he roared, nobody gets you. I ran. I sprinted toward her. But the distance was too great. He caught her. He swung the knife. She fell into the puddle, the water instantly turning dark. I collided with him a second later. I hit him with everything I had. 20 years of anger. 20 years of silence. I hit him until his nose broke, until he went limp, until he lay unconscious in the gutter like the trash he was. I crawled to her. Elena. Elena, look at me. She was clutching her side. The blood was everywhere. Arthur, you came back. I never left, I choked out. I was waiting. We have to go, I said. I have to get you to a doctor. I picked her up. She weighed nothing. She was just bird bones and memories. And so we walk. The adrenaline is fading now. The cold is setting in. Her breathing is getting shallower. The space between each breath is getting longer. A terrifying silence stretches out. She shifts in my arms. Her hand, cold and wet, touches my cheek. Arthur. I'm here, Elle. I'm here. The tulips. I freeze. I look down at her. Her eyes are glassy, fixed on something I can't see. I saw them, in the trash can. That day. After you left. I went back, and I saw them. My heart shatters. The final piece breaks. You saw them. I saw them. And I knew. I knew you loved me. Why? I whisper. Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you run after me? I was scared, Arthur. I was so scared. And then. I thought if you really fought for me, you would have come back to get them. I waited by that trash can for an hour. I just wanted you to come back. She exhales. A long, shuddering breath that carries the weight of 20 wasted years, Elena. Nothing. The hand on my cheek slides down. Her head lolls against my chest. I stop walking. I fall to my knees on the wet asphalt. I hold her tight against me, rocking back and forth in the dark. The police sirens are wailing in the distance now. They sound like mournful animals. They are coming to take the professor and the body. I look up at the black sky. I am a historian. I spend my life studying the mistakes of empires, the falls of kings. But the greatest tragedy I ever witnessed wasn't in a book. It was a Tuesday in April, a bouquet of red tulips, and a silence that lasted a lifetime. I kiss her forehead. It's already cold. I love you, I whisper to the rain. But the rain doesn't care. And the only person who needed to hear it, is gone.